have this available to us. This meeting is being recorded. So checking in with folks. Would love to know how to upload and choose your profile picture. We might need to take that offline, Holly. We'll come back to you on that later. We will address this. Thank you, John. John?
You go down, click participant. Yeah.
Did you want to address that now?
Yeah, Candy's already addressed that. You just go down and click participant and you can change your photo from video to photo.
Love it.
Right
Thank
on
you.
that, Candy?
So,
Yep.
so what happens if I stop my video? You'll see that there's my profile picture, pops up like that. We come back and we're back on video.
Do you have to
I just did
upload a
that
profile picture, Stuart?
Sorry, John?
Do you have to upload a profile picture or does it automatically take it?
I had to upload it.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, and it's my wife's photographer, so she does a pretty good job there.
Nice.
Makes me look better. All right. Then we've got Judy saying hello. Please excuse, consider to leave. Okay, that happens. Corey, you got a number 1. So want to share why you chose that number 1? Smiley face.
Because that's the only way to be.
Awesome.
Even when you're in a difficult situation like we find ourselves now, you got to stay positive at all times. Right, Mary Helen?
Yeah, indeed. Lisa, number 6.
And normally I'm with Corey. I think I'm the only Lisa. Oh yeah, because I'm shy. Normally I'm with Corey and very, very positive. But my wife lost her job before COVID in February. And so we are 2 speakers, presenters with no income.
Yeah, that's a challenge. So we need to pivot and find a different way to make that income happen. And part of what's going to go on today might just allow you that opportunity. We'll see. Thank you. And thanks for the honesty. That's important too. Pamela, number 1. Pam, you with us?
I am. It's just kind of getting used to all the buttons everywhere flashing all the time here. I'm usually optimistic, and when it's a sunny day like today, it's really hard to be. It's hard for me to be down anyway. So I go out to those, or my thoughts go out to those that are not feeling quite as optimistic today.
Yeah, indeed. We can't lose that compassion, but clearly the weather does influence us, and it is gorgeous out there. Full moon last night was beautiful as well.
Yes.
Lee, 4.
Good morning, everyone. It's just sort of in the middle today. I've got a couple of projects that I'm working on, and I'm happy with those, but it always takes longer than I think it's going to. And so I'm still kind of working through the mud.
Yeah, no, indeed. Thank you.
Lee, while we got you up with your mic up, we just sent out a survey to all the members. Do you want to talk about that for just a second?
Sure. So John and I spoke, and next month he's asked me to talk a little bit about what's happening with the remote workforce and how that's affecting us as consultants, how we interact with our clients and customers, and what adaptations we may need to make in order to continue to build those relationships and do valuable work for them. So what John sent out yesterday is really asking you all for some questions as to what would be most helpful to you as you think about transitioning the work that you do in working with individuals and organizations who have most of their workforce working remotely now. So would love to have your input that I can use and build that into next month's session.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
I'm very grateful for that, Lee, and I think it's going to be very valuable for everybody. So just as a reminder, if you want to ask questions and have Lee tailor his presentation to include your question and potential answers, you can email me or Lee, and Lee is going to use that to customize his presentation for us next month.
Perfect. Talk about pivoting. That's the way to do it. And we need to give a shout out and kudos to Candy as well, who changed her presentation at the last minute to cater to our current environment. So we'll come to that in just a sec. Thank you, Lee. Thank you, John. Val, number 3.
Right. Well, generally things are really good. We're in a good place. Like the happiest thing is that our dog is 2 and has a lot of energy. So we are outside a lot, and that is making a huge difference. And we're lucky enough to have 3 livable levels in our house, so we can have some distance from each other, as well as, there's the missing social interactions beyond our little family, and then having a little too much exposure to each other nonstop. So those things are, definitely working. But my husband actually started working remotely from his company the week before the order. So we're on week 4, and I feel like, just starting to feel those restrictions of not being able to run out to the library, not being able to, those types of things. So I'm sitting right around a 3. It's good, but there's moments when it's like, oh, it's been a long haul.
Yeah, no, indeed. Thank you. And thanks for sharing. Appreciate that, Val. Sandra, emotional state 2. Sandra?
Yep, I'm here. First click didn't work. Yeah, I didn't choose a 1 because things could always be better. I'm optimistic as well. Just going with the flow, exercising, and finding something new to clean because, not a lot else happening.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Thank you. John, 1.
I'm always optimistic. I'm just born that way.
Cool.
And things are okay for me. My clients are stable because I live in a world where my clients need to maintain their external communications with their client base right now. So I manage quite a bit of advertising, upwards of 7 figures, and I have not had anybody cancel yet.
Love it. Thanks, John. Judy, you got a 3.
Well, I have a 3, partly because of what I'm in the midst of with my business. Well, being contained at home is not so unusual for me. So that's not, I'm going to say, pressuring my psyche as much as where I am in transitioning my business to an online business. There's just so much to do and so much to learn. Mm-hmm. And I'm in the midst of making I don't want to say a total shift, but a slight shift in terms of the overall focus. So there's been a little more pondering, I should say. If this were just continuing to serve clients in my typical manner, I would probably be a 2 or a 1. Right now it's hard because we can't see the grandkids, and that's a big deal.
Yeah.
But mainly the 3 is because of the quandary I'm in with just transitioning the business, which is the process I was in before all of this started.
Yeah, and I've heard that before from others.
I'm going to say I got 2 major clients that are healthcare clients. They're all doctors, and they are just, they're just swamped at the moment. So what I was doing with them is on a hold. And my small business clients have closed temporarily, I hope.
Thanks for
Good
sharing.
morning, Dan.
That's part of the 3.
Yeah, no, and that realism is still there too. Chris, 2.
Yeah, I think for the most part, I feel very fortunate not having been impacted by the virus at all. And I can say the same thing for all the members of my family. So these days, I think that's probably the biggest priority that I have. And it's wonderful to see all of you today, by the way, and knowing that if you're here, you're probably healthy as well. So that's the toughest part of this all, and getting through the next few weeks, I think, would be tough. Clients for me have pretty much dried up. As most folks, I was scheduled to do a couple of training things, and those got canceled. But I am looking forward to when this tails down, hopefully sooner rather than later. And I do think that I'm hopeful that businesses will drive back as quickly as they can to a real optimistic view of business and and start a lot of action going. So
Yeah, we'll be coming back to a new norm. Yeah, great. Thank you. Carol, 3. Carol, still with us?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can now.
Okay, sorry, I was on mute.
Yep.
So hello, everyone. I am enjoying a house full of my kids, my senior from college from Ohio who's studying, and my other daughter who's getting married and building a house in Sun Prairie, and they've got their offices set up. They work, both are high tech, working full time, and nothing's changed. My husband's out working, nothing's changed for him. He's a computer guy and is on the road. So for me, life's changed a lot, and I'm actually really enjoying having my kids here, and just doing a lot of catch up on things that I have never had time to bother doing. Work-wise, I think it's tough. My work is really in person, and I haven't been able to create a action marketing planning session that's remote. I could do that, but I don't think anyone is really looking much at the future at this point. And like the others have said, hopefully that'll change over time. So just trying to enjoy life. It is what it is.
Yeah, super. Great, Carol. Thank you. And Candy, feature speaker 1.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Good morning. I have a 1 today. Every hour, it seems like I'm going 1 to 6. So it's really all over the place. The weather definitely helps. You know, it's nice being able to be home with my daughter's 2-year-old. So it's fun being able to spend extra time with her. We also have a border collie like Val. So our dog has never been happier because we're all home all day. So yeah, I think the dogs are really winning in this situation. The dogs in our neighborhood are getting so many walks. It's very fun. But yeah, and business is actually really busy right now. But we are seeing, leads slowing down. So it's really a big question mark as to how long this lasts. But right now I'm feeling very fortunate to be healthy. Everybody in my family's healthy. We do know a couple people who have the virus, but luckily none of them are, in tough shape. So we're hoping they get better soon.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Candy. We've got a few more to check in. I'm mindful of the time as well. I want to start with Candy at the top of the hour, but I would like to address everyone. I feel this is important and give John a second or a few minutes to speak as well. Ken, you have a number 2?
Hello. Yeah,
Hello.
number 2. I guess I'm somewhat of an eternal optimist, so things are a little slow, but we're getting by. Getting out to walk in the Conservancy or the neighborhood. Things are good for the most part. We'll get through this.
Absolutely. Great. Thank you, Ken. Appreciate it. Nancy K.
Good morning. I'll turn my video on temporarily. Hello. But I like my profile picture better. It's all right. I'm done. I have mine's really between, I would say, a 1 and a 2. I'm very fortunate. I have a couple colleagues of mine in different parts of the country that we're doing some collaboration on. And so that is keeping me busy and been very, very helpful. Also, I had a second part of a big contract to be paid the beginning of this year. So financially, that has definitely been helpful as well. And then the one colleague in Texas that I'm working with, she's actually a business partner. We formed a separate business, and we are working on doing web videos, a course on Journey to Mastering Your Time. And so we've been focusing on doing that. And just before all the lockdown, I actually was in Texas, and we did a bunch of recordings. And so she's busy working on the website and all the back end stuff, and I'm busy editing all our recordings that we did when I was in Texas the beginning of March. And every day we're just one step closer to getting that online to be out there to the world.
Super. Thank you, Nancy. Busy is good. Mike, you have number 3.
I just like the emoticon, the emoji. So it felt cool. So no, it's for the most part, Everything's, holding. I've been blessed that I don't have a lot of clients still being in the early part of building a business, but none of them have dropped or canceled. All have felt they want to continue, so that's really positive. Other than that, business development sort of dried up, but I expect that it should pick up as people come out of it. People are going to need to figure out what to do. So I think there's an opportunity for a lot of people needing help. It's just a question of when and how and where. So it's a good time to retool some stuff and rethink some stuff. So it's good.
Awesome. Great. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. Jenny, 4.
All right, just hopped off my call, so I happened to hear my name. Yeah, I think I'm just a little bit frazzled because as an HR consultant, I'm just trying to keep up with all these new laws and rules and day-to-day changes with unemployment, and everybody's kind of calling me about those kind of questions. So just a little frazzled, otherwise trying to stay positive.
Thanks, Jenny. Appreciate it. And thanks for the honesty. Heather, you've got a 3?
Hi, yes, I would say I'm at a 3. Yesterday was kind of not the best day in our whole household. It seemed like all the kids and I all were hitting our like 4-week tolerance of this. So each of us had our meltdowns at different times during the day, just with homeschooling and trying to, my husband's working behind me right now and planning conference calls and how to keep the house quiet and how to get everybody online when they're supposed to be doing their work. And mine are kind of little too, so they can't quite independently manage, where to click and how to turn it in or whatever. So it's good though. We're managing and just trying to help people that are also trying to write curriculum now at home or trying to walk their clients through something virtually rather than having the hands-on face-to-face. So, if anybody needs help, needs advice, needs tweaks, things like that, please let me know. I'm happy to help all MABC members as needed. So I'm glad to see you guys, though. I need this energy other than my kids.
Awesome. Thank you, Heather. And speaking of that energy and the continued opportunity just to check in with everyone, I'm just going to go back to John. We're at about 2 minutes to the top of the hour. I'm going to ask Candy as well. Are we okay going over a little bit with this check-in? I feel value in that, but I want to just hear from the two of you. John, you okay with a few minutes over?
Yeah, we're going okay. I just need 5 minutes before Candy starts.
Gotcha. And Candy, you're okay with that? We might be shorting your time a little bit. We wanted to give you the full hour.
That's fine, she said.
Okay, good. So Holly Hollister, 3 to 4.
Doing this mute thing. All right, here we go. Yeah, for me, it's between, I love the emojicons, the cool versus the eek. And kind of like Candy said, it's like an ebb and flow from one all the way to the continuum. And I think because we're not solo in this endeavor, right? And so your heart is really heavy when you're seeing some really horrific things, or your family members have cancer, or you're trying to get up north to help them. And so how do you do the grocery shopping for them and for yourself, and honor the amazing grocery store people and the truck drivers and the healthcare workers? And so how do you hold the space? There's all of that importantness, which is integrated with the work that we do, right? It's about making the world a better place. All of us do that in some shape or form. And for me, the cool part, although I haven't gotten to it, because it seems like it's not gotten quieter, it's gotten more, oh my God, there's 10,000 things more to do, right? But what is essential, getting clarity on that, and that I have to coach myself on every single day, what is most essential, and have a long game in plan. And the gift for me here, where the cool part is, I've got to create focus from distraction. I've got some really amazing projects. I was in an accelerator last year, the Social Good Accelerator, to do a really great project for women-led businesses, claiming your personal leadership. because we're all leaders, we don't need to say that we are, we just are in my bias. So how do you step into that and own it? So for me, it's a mixture. It's grace and hell at the same time. So that's me.
Great. Thanks, Holly. I noticed that, Jody, you're on your cell phone, so you don't have emoticons. Just a quick check-in from you.
Hi, I'm well. I'm adapting. I'm beefing up some of my work with NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, and working with them doing some facilitating and teaching of courses, helping people manage their stress better. And as a new consultant and building my business, I'm just going with the flow here and trying to meet the needs that I become aware of and focusing on those things and being adaptable. So I'm appreciative for what's coming my way at this point and available for more.
Great. Thank you, Jody. Nancy, you're challenged maybe with figuring out the number system here. Just give us a quick check-in. We don't need to have a number.
Okay, sorry, couldn't figure it out.
That's all right.
Yeah, things are really well here because, of course, all my jobs, all my presentations are postponed, they're canceled, so I don't have any of that work done. But I started this campaign called Spread Hope. I call it hashtag Spread Hope. And every morning on my LinkedIn and on my Facebook, I list something positive. It could be a positive video, I don't know, a tip, a quote, something like that. And Channel 27 News heard about it. And last Friday, they came to my house and they interviewed me, and I was on TV last Friday talking about it. So I'm pretty excited about that. So if you're having a down day or a number 3 day or a number 4 day, check out my Facebook or my LinkedIn, and there's some tips there to help you through the day.
Awesome, great.
Nancy, if you can get that video clip in an MP4, maybe we can upload it to the LinkedIn page.
John, we're having a little bit of trouble with your audio. I don't know if it's on your end or if it's the Zoom platform.
It's Zoom more than anything.
Yeah, so we got you back again, sorry.
So I was just telling Nancy, if she can get the video clip in an MP4, maybe we can try to upload it to the LinkedIn page.
Okay, super. Thanks, John. Dan, the scale is just a quick emoticon slide that I shared earlier. It's mostly for a check-in.
That's fine. Things are going fairly well, although I've, like probably many of you, I imagine, I've gone from kind of hearing a lot about the Agile concept to living it with changes and shifts and things with, so I'm finishing up a 12-month executive coaching client, which could roll into a different project for me, but I'm also looking, he asked me for resources on people that would do executive coaching focused in the communication realm for one of the executives at the engineering firm. So if any of you know of or feel like that's your center of expertise, please let me know. The Vistage and the roundtables that I do are in many ways much of what I love to do, and I still, but everything has shifted to the Zoom platform. So the one-on-ones, the group meetings, and it's interesting. What we're finding is that the members that we have in the Vistage arena, with all this stuff coming with loans and PPP, and just like they can't get enough information, they can't get enough reliable information. So we've shortened our meetings that we hold over Zoom, but we've also put in another meeting 2 weeks later that we called office hours. So we've doubled our access to them. We still have our other meetings, and for the most part, that seems to be working out really well. We had an all area, Western Michigan and all of Wisconsin called Vistage Executive Summit, which is typically in Milwaukee. That was all held by webcast. We had 3 keynote speakers, and it went exceptionally well. So all in all, you know, things are well. I'm really concerned about one of my members who's in construction and had all of his commercial projects put on hold because of the virus. And I can get a brief email exchange with him, but I know in many ways he's productive and going after things, but in other ways this is when we could, as a peer group, really help him in terms of design. So that's probably my biggest worry.
Yeah, no, awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it, Dan. I'm going to take one more. Val, I see a 1 through 6 here. And at this point, once we finish, if you haven't had a chance to check in, I still want to honor and respect the fact that you haven't checked in. And I would encourage you maybe to reach out to somebody else in MABC and do a virtual coffee together. I put that challenge onto our LinkedIn page, and then just, leave your comments there. I know that everyone would like to check in, but we just don't have the luxury of that time this morning. Val, 1 through 6, and you'll be the last one.
I actually already went with the 3. That was a response to Dan's question about the scale being 1 through 5. So
Gotcha.
sorry,
Okay.
I didn't mean that to be confusing.
Fair enough. Thank you. With that, I'm going to pass it over to you, John, and your quick check-in with folks, and then we'll move on to Holly.
Well, thank you very much, Stuart. I want to recognize Stuart for putting this together. I had never heard of Zoom until Stuart introduced me to it about a week before the virus hit. So now I'm a subscriber, and obviously it's working for everybody because everybody I know on the planet is using it, and it's worked pretty good. So that's cool. Thanks. I just want to mention, because of the way things are, I've had to go ahead and put together the next 2 programs by myself based on the feedback that I got at our March planning meeting. And when I saw Lee Johnson step forward with his webinar about how to improve your performance working remotely, I thought that that was a very relevant business trend topic. And I reached out to him and asked him if he would put together a program for us in May to help us all be better online working remotely. And he agreed to do it. And he's taken it one step beyond that and surveying all the members to get feedback in terms of what do you want to learn about that. And feel free to email Lee or myself so that we can really have a robust conversation on May 14th. I also want to thank Randy DeLopst. I think that's how you pronounce his name. He's not on today, but he contacted me and asked me if I would be interested in bringing Wayne Breitbart back, who is a LinkedIn expert. And we exchanged emails and had a brief conversation the other day. And in fact, I'm going to ask him to be our presenter for our June meeting because LinkedIn has really gained a lot of momentum in the last few days, last few weeks. It is amazing that has become the primary business communication tool to keep our country together and our local business community together. And Sandra, thank you for helping us get our LinkedIn act together. And I know there were other people involved, but our LinkedIn page is actually kicking ass right now. And so I'm going to keep populating it as much as I can. So I want to encourage all of you. I'd like to make everybody an administrator, but I can't. So I just want to encourage all of you, Dan, Lee, Judy, anybody, Mike, anybody who has anything to share, I'm going to post it. And so the gate's wide open, and it's up to you on whether or not you want to use that communication channel, but it's ours to use. And I'd like to encourage everybody. Lisa, you're having some difficulty right now. Let's use that tool to help bring us forward here. Things have really slowed down. Matter of fact, I would call it pretty much a dead stop. The economy's still chugging along, but really not really. People are trying to survive, and I have a lot of empathy for that. And my world could change in a minute with one phone call. So I'm not naive to the fact that things are broken right now. So there is going to be an opportunity when the virus safer at home program starts to wind down and people start to go back out into the public. I've talked to a number of experts in this area, and it's not going to happen all at once. It's going to be a slow climb back out. It's 30, 60, 90 days to return to what is the new normal. And I don't think we're ever going to go back to the old way. And the virus is never going away. So we have to learn to operate differently. And this is how our meetings are going to be occurring into the future. So we got 2 great programs coming up in May and June. I'm very grateful for that. I'm grateful for everybody who was able to join us today, because I think Candy has done a tremendous job stepping up and providing valuable insight for everybody. You know, it was interesting for me talking with her yesterday when we were planning this meeting about her perspective on all the different opportunities and platforms there are to use to take your business online. I'm not an expert in that, but I know she has a tremendous commitment to helping us get better. And with that, I'm going to close by saying, if anybody needs help, I am available 24/7, phone calls, Zoom meetings. I will do everything I can within my power to share everything I know to help you get your business back up. If it's not going well, reach out. Reach out to me, reach out to Mike, reach out to Lee, reach out to Sandra. I mean, we are blessed by great people with huge talent. So please use the resources that are available here today, and maybe we can do a little payback for your participation in the organization. And I thank you all for being here. And Candy, thank you for presenting today.
Awesome. Thank you,
got
John.
the floor, Candy.
We're going to roll on to Candy. Candy, I'm going to allow you to share your screen and go ahead and kick in there. And for the rest of us, if we wanted to do it on speaker view, that might be an advantage. And you can move that window around if it gets in the way of any text on the screen too. So just realize it is Windows, you can move it around, but speaker view does allow full screen speaker to show up. Candy?
Okay, well, thank you everybody for being here, and thanks so much to John and Stuart for getting everything organized today. I am going to stop my video and share my screen. I have a weird thing where you can see my giant fingers when I type on my keyboard, so I'll just stop the video and share screen. Okay, and can you all see a website right now that says busy, busy?
We are there.
Okay, great. And now let me get my PowerPoint going here. So today we are going to be talking about getting your head in the cloud, choosing an online learning management platform to monetize your knowledge. Now, as John mentioned, we had a different program lined up for today, and this just seemed more relevant to me. We decided to change because I am the owner of Busy Busy. We are an experiential company in Madison that focuses on web design and branding. And because I build websites for a living, a lot of our clients who are either speakers or consultants who used to do a lot of their engagements in person are scrambling right now to try to figure out how to move some of their business, some of their content, some of their services online. And the first thing that everyone kept emailing me about in the last few weeks was, what platform should I choose to make a course for my business? So we're going to get into today how selling online courses helps you scale your business, what's involved in an online course business, learning management systems and the technology behind the content, how to choose the best platform, and what you can do right now to get started. So one of the things that I think will be a little bit challenging today is I wasn't sure how familiar people were with some of this terminology and some of this online course world. It sounds like, you know, maybe Judy and Jody and Nancy are already in this world of selling online courses. And then I think some people haven't even considered it. So I apologize if I'm, you know, telling you things you already know or on the other end of that, but I'm going to try to answer basically frequently asked questions that we're getting from our clients to try to help demystify some of this and help you understand the best ways to move forward if this is something you want to do. So just to get a little terminology out of the way, we are talking about learning management systems. I'm going to be using the acronym LMS today. And a learning management system is a software application that typically lives on a website for the delivery, administration, and documentation of educational courses and training programs. So in short, we are talking about selling online courses. The learning management system can be used and is used a lot for large companies for their internal training programs. Also, schools are using learning management systems right now so their students can take, interact with teachers, take assignments and upload assignments and all of that kind of stuff. But we today are specifically talking about entrepreneurs and consultants who want to sell online courses to clients. This screenshot is just, Marie Forleo is one of like the big online gurus who makes millions of dollars a year selling online courses. And we're going to talk a little bit more about kind of the wide spectrum of not only the amount of money one can make with an online course, but also just setting expectations for how much work it is to sell an online course. So if you want to use the chat right now and just say, if you have any experience selling online courses, or if you have even just taken an online course, we'd love to just kind of see where everyone's at with that. Just to give you a little background on myself, I have a journalism degree from the University of Montana, and I am 100% self-taught in web design and graphic design. So when I quit my job in 2008, the last time the economy crashed, and wanted to start a business, and I had some skills in design. I had been doing layout and doing a lot of writing for newspapers, and I like to say I'm a graduate of YouTube University. So when I started, I would go to the library and try to find books about running a business and marketing. And a lot of the content was super outdated. And that's when I finally discovered Google and the power of search engines and YouTube, and learning that there was so much content online that people were sharing their knowledge. And for me, that was basically how I was able to teach myself how to build websites. I taught myself, probably 50 different computer programs that I'm now quite proficient in. And so I'm a big fan of online learning, because I truly believe it is the equalizer. You don't have to go get a computer science degree to learn how to build awesome websites. You don't have to get a degree in MBA in order to be an entrepreneur, because there is so much content out there that's super valuable and affordable. I also just want to mention, I'm seeing the chat blow up, and if John or Stuart have any questions, if you have a question, feel free to pop it in the chat, and then John and Stuart can just interrupt me. I'm happy to just take questions as we go, or also we will take questions at the end. So I'm a big fan of online courses. It wasn't until last year that I actually started selling my own online course. So right now I have a course, I kind of have two businesses running. And the second part of my business is that I am licensing other web designers in our one-day website process. So I spent a lot of time last year building an online course, writing content, and getting that ready for sale.
Yeah, and Candy, let me just interject for a sec. Sorry, the chat will be saving, and I'll put that out there. But mostly, you're getting responses from about 25 participants that are sharing their experience online with course selling.
Okay, awesome, thank you. So let's talk about how selling an online course can help your business. Firstly, it helps you monetize your knowledge and experience. I think pretty much everyone here is a consultant in some manner, and that means you have knowledge and experience that's valuable. People are paying you in your consulting services for that knowledge. Having an online course is just a different way to monetize that knowledge. Having an online course helps you turn in-person engagements, so speaking engagements or in-person consulting or workshops that you're doing, into online products that you can then have a global reach. You no longer have to travel to go do those things, and anybody can access that content. So it allows you to scale your business, and it also allows you to change from one-on-one services into one-to-many products. So having an online course is a way to productize your services and allows you to scale, because as we all know as consultants, there's only so much time in the day. And if you are selling your time as the primary way to make money, you are going to eventually cap that out. You're going to run out of hours in the day that you could be serving clients.
So Candy,
Of course, is another way. Pardon?
Can I interrupt for a second?
Absolutely.
I apologize, but Dan has a question.
Sure.
He says, why start my own when vendors like LinkedIn Learning and others are out there?
Great question. Okay, so I think this is a really important question, and something that people need to think really deeply about before running out and starting to build an online course. There is a ton of content already on the internet already. LinkedIn Learning is one of those. We're going to talk about a lot of other online learning marketplaces that are out there, but there's a couple reasons why you might want to still contribute your own content. For one, you have unique knowledge and experience. So what you know is not the same thing as what somebody else knows. And for two, you still have your own business and your own set of clients. So in my opinion, there's no shortage of customers in the world. It's just a matter of connecting to the ones that make the most sense for you. So the key is, if you're going to start an online course, you need to think about where your niche is, where your specialty is, and trying to fill holes and gaps that don't already exist. But again, this isn't a one-size-fits-all thing. Not everyone needs to have an online course. This is just one option in your quiver, so to speak, if you think it's a good idea. I also just want to think about, like, if you're a consultant and you're not sure what you would put in an online course, let's say you're a CFO consultant who helps businesses plan their revenue projections. You may sell high-end services where you actually work one-on-one with an entrepreneur, business owner, or maybe their accounting team or finance team, and help them do revenue projections and help them plan their pricing models. That type of stuff is valuable services, but there's probably a lot of companies that would like to hire you that can't afford your services. So if you turn that content, the knowledge you have about doing revenue projections or planning business finances into an online course, you allow more people to be able to access your knowledge in a way that they can afford. A lot of people are worried that if they do an online course, they're giving away their knowledge and they're devaluing their services, but I guarantee you that is not the case. There are some people who will just never be able to afford your services. And so you can either have them buy an online course and give you some money, or never get their business. The other thing is that a lot of times you try to teach somebody something and they want to do it themselves, and they'll decide, you know what, this is not for me. I'd much rather just hire an expert. And you've gotten in the door by giving them that online course and building that trust with them. So those are kind of the basic premises of general content marketing. But in this case, we're talking about actually selling that content, not necessarily giving it away. So I hope that answered part of that question. One of the things I want to talk about today is just the work that goes into building an online course. Now, there is a really wide range of, where you can start to where you can end up. And it sounds like Judy's kind of right in the middle of all of that work, and she's finding, how much there is to do. I just want to kind of dispel the myth that having an online course is passive income. So you'll hear people talk about, oh, you put an online course up there and you do a launch and you make $1 million. Like there's online gurus who are talking about big numbers all day long and talking about how easy it is to do. And typically you're going to find that it could be easy to do an online course, but it is not easy to make $1 million selling an online course. If you're going to be full-on online course business, or this is going to be a big chunk of your revenue, you have to treat it like a business. There's all sorts of things that go into it. So branding and positioning is the first thing, you know, making sure that you know what your mission and your values are and why you're even doing an online course. What is the purpose of this knowledge and how is it going to help people? Positioning yourself in the marketplace. So, you know, against other people with online courses and other people who have similar offerings, how are you going to differentiate yourself? Then there's the piece about the writing and curriculum design. So this can be a little work or a lot of work, depending on how robust your course is going to be. And this is something I know Heather Dean works on. She's a curriculum specialist, and you know, there's a lot that goes into creating content that is easy for people to understand, that affects different learning styles, and you know, so you could spend a lot of time working on the curriculum. Then there's video production. Not all online courses are video based, but I would say the majority of them are. So actually, you know, recording those videos, doing the editing of the videos, and then, you know, you can get as fancy as you want with intros and outros and some of the branding things or adding music. But video production can be a lot of work. And then there's the learning management system. So this is the actual software that you're using that probably lives on a website where you're going to actually put all of the content in order for someone to be able to purchase a course. And then they're going to be able to log in to get access to the course. And then they're going to be able to, you know, go through the content, watch the videos. They might be taking a quiz. They might be getting downloads. There's a bunch of technical things that have to be in place in order for somebody to be able to do all of that. And then a big thing that people sometimes forget about with online courses is how are you going to build an audience? Because you can build the content, but if you don't have anyone willing to pay for it, then it's not going to be worth your time. So audience building is a huge piece of those people, those online gurus who are making $1 million every time they launch a new course. They are spending tremendous amount of time and money on audience building. Content marketing is one way to build an audience. We're not going to get into all of these in detail, but content marketing in general is creating free content that will attract people into your sales funnel. So this might be something like an opt-in on your website or like a free checklist on your website. You might have a white paper or a case study or a free webinar that just teases a little bit of information about what you know and gets people interested enough to then eventually hopefully buy your course, or a certain percentage of those people will buy your course. Media and public relations. So getting, you know, coverage in Entrepreneur Magazine or being on a podcast, being a guest blogger for someone else, getting a radio interview, all of those things are going to help you build your audience. And I mean, sometimes those things come to you, but a lot of times it takes a good amount of outreach in order to get on somebody's podcast or get on a interview for TV or something like that. Oops, I got my out of order here. Then social media. So just doing social media, being on Facebook and LinkedIn regularly, having people follow you, and then spending time connecting with them and building those relationships so that when eventually you have something to sell them, you have already built the relationship and people know, like, and trust you. And then digital marketing. Here we're talking about actual pay-per-click advertising. So that might be Facebook ads, Instagram ads, or Google AdWords, actually paying to start building your audience so people are seeing your ads online. Then we get into the delivery of the course. So another thing people often don't realize is the customer service aspect that goes into having an online course. You're going to have lots of sales questions ahead of time, people wanting more information about what they get or what happens if they want to return, you know, they want a refund. And then there are going to be people who have technical problems while they're taking your course. Who's going to answer those emails? You know, and then follow up and customer retention. Those are all parts of having a successful online course business. And then there's the website management. assuming in this example that you have your course on your own website and you have that content, you need to make sure that the software is being updated, that it's being security is being managed, the content is being updated regularly. So there's a lot that goes into that as well. And then everyone's favorite part of owning a business, the accounting. You know, running the numbers, making sure you're paying your taxes, thinking about pricing. You know, there's a lot of pricing strategies out there for online courses. You know, do you sell cheap and try to get a lot more people, or do you have premium courses where you're charging $1,000 or $2,000 for somebody to take your content? There's a lot that goes into the numbers behind online courses. And then finally, systems design. The bigger your audience, the more courses you have, the more out of control things can get. So, you know, if you start really small, you might not need a bunch of systems and workflows in place. But as soon as you start having like pretty complex sales funnels, you'll want to start really documenting and codifying all of the steps of your sales funnel. You want to make sure that you have everything written down and outsourceable, so that if you want to hand over some of that administrative work to a virtual assistant or hire an employee eventually, you have everything written down about what happens at what stage in the sales funnel, what happens when someone signs up for the course. Is there an automated email that they get? And where is that email located if you need to edit some of the content? There's just a lot of things like that that they can get unwieldy, and it's easier if you start from the beginning, making sure that you're documenting all of that stuff appropriately. So I don't want to bring all this up to turn anyone off or to scare anyone away from wanting to do an online course. I just want to point out that the people who are making $1 million, you know, every time they launch a course, these are the things they're investing in. They're investing their time, they're investing their money, and if you want to be extremely successful, these are the things that you can do. With that said, there's lots of things you can do to start small. You don't have to start an online course that costs $2,000 like Marie Forleo. You can start small just with one video, just capturing a single presentation that you give regularly, some content that you already have online. And then it's a matter of just, again, thinking about the strategy of what you're doing and why you're doing it. You don't want to just start making content without thinking it through. I like to start with the why. Why are you making this content? What's the strategy behind it? How does it fit into your existing products and services? And then the what is the content? What is the most valuable content that you can create? You probably have an idea of this just from your consulting. You know what type of content, what type of education you're giving clients on a regular basis that really changes their business or changes their outlook on something. Those kinds of aha moments that you see your clients having, that's where the value is. That's where the valuable content can be mined and turned into an online course. And then again, the who is your audience? The more focused and targeted that you can be on who you're selling this to, the easier it's going to be to target them and get them into the funnel. So if you start a generic course on, you know, best practices in starting a business, that's a very broad topic, and it's going to be hard to get people into your sales funnel because it could apply to way too many people. You'd be a lot better off, you know, Ken, if you want to start an online course about how to start a photography business, or even how to take luxury portraits. Those type of specific courses are going to be easier to market than something really broad and generic, just because it's very competitive out there and there's so many people offering those broad topics. Another thing is just thinking about your existing audience. So you already have a list of clients, and maybe you have an email list you've been building over the years. Who in that list would be willing to pay for your content? You probably already have people who have hired you for other things who would pay to get additional content from you. And if you have a list of those people, it's a lot more motivating to create that content if you know that one of those people or 5 of those people or 20 of those people are going to want to buy that content. I recommend actually reaching out to people before you jump in and just say, hey, I'm thinking about creating a course about luxury portraits. Would you be interested in taking it? And just kind of get a feeler to make sure that you have an idea of who the audience is and what it is they want to learn. Once you have some of those things nailed down, you have a good idea of why you're doing it, what you're going to create, and who the audience is, then you can start talking about some of these technical pieces. The where is the content going to live? What website is it actually going to be on? And then the how, what platform are you going to use to deliver the content? So we're going to talk a lot more about this technical stuff today. But I just want to make sure that everyone has the business reasoning behind why you'd want an online course before you start jumping in and doing research on platforms. It seems like everyone goes straight for the platform. They're all concerned about the technology and then skip some of those other parts about why they're even doing this in the first place. We were going to break into small groups and talk about some of this, but I think let's skip this for now, Stuart, and we can save this for the end for anybody who wants to stick around.
Yeah, I agree, Candy. There are some rich conversations going on in the chat, and just as a heads up, anyone can save that chat to your PC. There's little 3 dots on the lower corner, which if you wanted to save that and the responses. But I do know there was a question that Heather had about pricing for the LMS. And also some tech support. There are other questions out there, so.
Okay, yeah, we will definitely get into pricing and tech support in the next few slides here. So let's just put a pin in that. And then while we're at this little break, I do want to just take a moment to get out of my presentation and look at some live websites so we can get an idea of what we're talking about in the real world. So let me see where we want to start here. When we talk about where your course is going to live, we'll be talking a little bit more in detail here. But there are literally 1,000 LMS platforms out there right now, and it can be pretty overwhelming to decide which one to use. But some of the big decisions that you're going to make are going to be whether you want to have the content on your own website or whether you want to use something like Udemy or Skillshare. And I'll just show you what Udemy looks like. So Udemy is called an online learning marketplace. And this is a website where all sorts of people across the world are teaching all sorts of content. So you can see here, we have leadership practical skills for $11. We've also got advanced stock trading courses and strategies. People are selling all types of content. And one of the advantages of using something like Udemy or Skillshare, these are 2 really popular ones, is that they do already have a built-in audience. So millions of people are going to these websites every month looking for content. So if you're starting from scratch and you have 0 people in your email list and you don't already have existing clients, this can be a good way to get started because you can easily get up and running on one of these platforms. You don't have to have your own website. All you need is the content. So these are a great way to get started. If you're starting from 0, if you have like no budget, this is a great option. Now, some of the downsides of this are you can see how low these prices are. A lot of these platforms will control or put a cap on how much you can charge for your course. So you're not going to see any $2,000 courses on these kind of websites. Also, of course, they're taking a larger cut of the percentage that that you charge because they're the ones doing they have all the technology in place and it's their platform. So you're going to have way less control with any of these. You're going to have way less opportunities for branding, and you're going to have more competition. So there might be 50 people on this platform who are teaching advanced stock trading, and you're going to have to be competing on price and also on content with those people. So these are great platforms also if you have a very niche business. So let's say you are a music teacher and you're teaching soprano flute. Like maybe there's nobody on this platform who's teaching that, in which case there's a big opportunity for you to be that person. But again, the more specific you can get, the more likely someone is going to find your course and take it. Here's a course on Excel for beginners. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there's 100 other courses on this website who are teaching Excel. But again, if you have great Excel skills and you know your own clients do not have great Excel skills, having that course, even if it's living on this website, you can still sell that directly to your clients and send them the link to your link on this platform and say, hey, if you want to brush up on your Excel skills, here's a $30 course that you can take. Okay, so these are the online learning marketplaces. This is where there's lots of people selling lots of different type of content. Super easy to get up and running on, but less control and less flexibility. If you look at, I just randomly grabbed a couple people who have online courses here. It's called momentousonline.org. You can see up here, they have courses on their website. And you can see here, some of those are free. Some of these are $20. Again, these are inexpensive courses that they are selling. Now, if you actually go to buy them, you can see up here, we're staying on the momentousonline.org website. And if you want to purchase this, you're going to be on this website the entire time. They own this website. They've been, the learning management system is on this website. The other option is, let's see, I have a friend, let's see, who teaches, who has a service-based business where they write content for people's websites. And then they're also teaching an online course about how to do copywriting. So they have a website, customcontentllc.com, and this is built on the WordPress platform. WordPress is, we're going to talk a little bit more in detail about WordPress because it is the most popular website platform in the world. And probably a lot of you have WordPress websites. But you can see if you actually scroll down and you wanted to, let's see, well, anyway, when you find the place where they're selling the online course, it actually takes you to writethatsite.com, a different domain where they are selling and delivering their online course. Now, I want to just point that out because I know that they're using WordPress for this platform, and then they are using a platform called Kajabi to actually deliver their online course. So that is an option to basically have two websites, one that has your marketing and service business, and then one that has your online course. We'll talk a little bit more later about how to make those decisions, but I just wanted to point that out. I also just wanted to show you this Marie Forleo's website. She's selling her course for $2,000. You can see down here, it's $19.99. So the range, again, can be all over the place. You could be selling premium courses, you could be selling $20 courses, or anywhere in between. It's all fair game. It just depends on your audience and the budget and the competition. A tricky site that I really like to use is this builtwith.com. Now, if you have a website that you like, let's just use this momentous.org. Let's say you've taken a course with them and you really liked how that course was laid out. You liked the functionality. You can see here their course, they have a 44-minute video. It looks like they have a couple of downloads, and then there's an assessment or a quiz afterwards. That's 9 questions, and then they have a certification. So let's say you had taken this course on Trauma 101 and you really liked it, and you were thinking about doing an online course. You can copy their URL into this Built With tool and look up and see what kind of technology they are using on their website. So not every single website will allow this. Some people have security things that will block it. I did check Marie Forleo's and you cannot look hers up, but this will tell you all sorts of things about somebody's website. And if you scroll all the way down, the content management system, that's where you can tell what platform somebody is using. So you can see here, they're using a platform called LearnWorlds, and it's a learning management system. So what that tells me is that their entire website is built on LearnWorlds. So even their about page is on LearnWorlds. Their FAQ page is on LearnWorlds. That just gives me an idea of what all capabilities LearnWorlds has, because I can see their site as it is in the living world. There are other ways to know what kind of platform somebody has. You don't need to, I mean, most people, your eyes might hurt from watching this, but if you right click on somebody's website and view the page source, this will show you some of the code that's output into the browser. And I know from being a WordPress web developer that if I search for WP content, I can tell that Marie Forleo's website is built on WordPress because these are WordPress type codes. If I look on this writethatsite.com, just, you know, scrolling through and looking to what you can find, I can see here that she's using Kajabi because I can see that in the code. So even if you can't do a built with on somebody's, if they have it blocked, sometimes you can tell what platform they're using by looking in the source code. So you have to kind of do some digging. It's a little bit of like a Sherlock Holmes situation, but looking at other people's websites and how they're built is one of the best ways to determine what a good platform for you would be. There is one more thing I want to show you. This article, I'll put this in the chat later. It's learningrevolution.net/sell-online-courses. This is a great overview of selling online courses in different platforms and how to make that choice. This has a handful of good descriptions, including that LearnWorlds that we just saw. And this will give a little bit of the same kind of content that we'll be talking about today, but also some more examples. So I'll put this in the chat. It's a good one to read if you're at that point where you're actually choosing a platform. Okay, so let me jump back into our presentation here. Okay, so when you're just first getting started, I do want to point out that there are a couple levels of online courses that you could be doing. Having an LMS, a full-on learning management system that lives on a website with quizzes and downloads and videos and all sorts of content is, you know, that's kind of like the goal. That's the best online courses have an LMS and are serving up content in that way. But if you just want to get started very quickly and easily, you just kind of want to dip your toes into this world of online courses, you can always do a live webinar like we're doing right now. So some of the benefits, pros and cons of each of these we'll go through here. With an LMS, you're going to have pre-recorded videos and screen shares. You're going to have written content, quizzes, assignments, and downloads. You can have grading. You can have groups. It's going to be much more robust. And the person who's taking the course can do it in a self-guided way. On a live call, so a live video with Zoom, or maybe you're doing, you could be doing a Facebook Live or a YouTube Live. There's lots of platforms that you can do live streaming. You'll have live videos, and you can also share your screen like I'm doing right now. There's a lot more live interactivity, so it gives an opportunity for feedback, questions, comments. You can record it for later. I believe we're recording this one right now, so you can save that for later. And it's super easy to get set up. So you could start doing a Zoom call tomorrow, whereas with an LMS, it's going to take a lot more work to get everything set up. And then, of course, this is guided by a live person. So if it's a live stream, you need a person to be actually doing the work. So if you're not sure if you want to get going on an online course, I definitely recommend just doing one Zoom call for your clients that you could start for free, but then try to charge for it. Try to charge $20 or $50 to try to get them to pay you for that information. You can just do old school and tell them to mail you a check or send you a PayPal or a Venmo, not worry about all the e-commerce functionality, but just get people to pay you for some of your content. So again, what's the best platform? This is the $1 million question. And the answer is, it totally depends. It depends on your business. The LMS industry is a $15.72 billion industry. And these are just a handful of the platforms. There are so many platforms. There's literally, I think I read 1,000 different LMS platforms out there. So unfortunately, there is no right answer. It totally depends on your own business. So how can you choose? How can you make a smart decision? These are some of the things you're going to need to think about. What is your current online presence? If you have a website, what platform is it already built on? Because chances are you can add an online learning management system onto whatever you have. If you're using WordPress, if you're using Squarespace, if you're using Wix or Weebly, I don't know about those last two if they have an opportunity to do an LMS, but those are things to Google and find out, because it might be the quickest option to just tack onto your existing website what the learning management piece. Again, do you have an existing audience? Are there people who are willing to pay for your content? If not, you might want to go with a learning management or a learning marketplace where there's already a built-in audience. What is your budget and what do the pricing look like for each course? We'll talk a little bit more about that. What kind of features do you need? This is where doing a little research and taking someone else's online course can be helpful. So you can see what kind of options are out there and then what you definitely need to include. Again, that builtwith.com is a way to see what other people are using. And then who's going to do the setup and installation of the LMS? Are you a do-it-yourself person and you don't mind getting your hands dirty and getting into all that? Or are you going to pay somebody else to set it up for you? You'll need to think about the ease of use, not only for your users, but also for you managing that content ongoing. And then what is the support like? Kind of cruising through these pretty fast because I know we're getting short on time here, but most LMS systems that are what's called proprietary will have a 24/7 customer service line. So if you're doing it yourself, a lot of times the recommendation from me would be to use an existing LMS platform because you'll have that support. If you use, well, we'll skip that and get into it in the next slide here. Think about your timeline. Do you have a deadline that you're trying to reach? Do you need to get your content up super quickly? Or do you have time to dig into it and spend a bunch of time learning a platform? Also consider your industry. We were talking about music lessons earlier. If you Google LMS for guitar teachers, you will probably find that there is a learning management system specifically designed for music teachers. There's lots of different LMSs that are for specific industries, and you'll find that they have specific features that you would need. Like maybe you need guitar tabs in your teaching. A platform that is specific for guitar teachers is going to have that feature where that may not even be at all possible in some other platform. Thinking about the customizability and the scalability. So this is where you have to think long-term about your business. Is this a quick hit? Are we just making an online course to fill some time because of the virus? Or is this like a big opportunity for you to actually, lead yourself into retirement with less one-on-one consulting and have more online work? If it's the case where you're thinking long-term and thinking big for your business, you're going to want a platform that's scalable, that doesn't cost you an arm and a leg once you start building a bigger audience or once you need more advanced features. And then the customizability, can you have sales pages? Can you have, do you have other things on your website you need people to do, like a membership site or like a support forum? Or are you trying to sell physical products? Like what other features do you need, and how scalable is the platform for all the different types of things you need your website to do? And then finally, interoperability. What other platforms are you using for your marketing? Are you using something like ConvertKit or MailChimp for email marketing? Are you using, are you heavily using Facebook for different types of things? Different platforms are going to easily integrate with other platforms. So you want to make sure that you're looking through those features very carefully before making a decision. So everyone is always asking me, okay, so yeah, there's like all these platforms, which one is the best? Which one should I use? Again, I don't have a strong recommendation. It totally depends, but these are just a handful that I have heard our customers using and liking. So these might be ones to look into. Teachable, LearnDash for WordPress, which we're going to talk a little bit more about, Thinkific, Kajabi, Podia, LearnWorlds, Rizuku. They all have their own deal. Like some of them are really cheap and easy to get started. Like Kajabi is super expensive, but it's super robust. It's like a full-on marketing machine. So again, you just have to look through all of the features and just determine what it is you need and how much you're willing to pay. Okay, so I just want to get through these last couple slides quickly. WordPress versus proprietary LMS. On this list, all of these are proprietary LMSs except for the LearnDash for WordPress. And WordPress, again, this is what we build all of our websites in. We love WordPress for so many reasons, but it is not an LMS out of the box. So if you already have a WordPress website, you're going to have to add a bunch of additional plugins in order to get the e-commerce functionality and the LMS, the ability for people to log in and look at your course content. If you are doing the website yourself, you're building it yourself, I recommend you do not try to build your own WordPress website. WordPress is quite a beast. There's a lot of configuration. There's a steep learning curve. Almost all of these other LMSs are going to be a lot more plug and play for the learning management system. If you have the budget to hire a professional, then WordPress is for sure the way to go, because WordPress over time is going to be less expensive and it's way more scalable and way more customizable. It's essentially infinitely customizable as long as you have a budget to hire a developer to help you. So if you're choosing between WordPress and a proprietary LMS, I think the question is, what's your budget and are you doing it yourself or not? I pretty much would not recommend anybody try to build their own WordPress site unless you consider yourself like highly tech savvy and you're really good at following online instructions and getting, going into support forums and that kind of thing. This is just a screenshot of LearnWorld's pricing table. I just want to break this down really quickly so that you understand what it is you're paying for. Up at the top, you'll see these monthly prices, this $24 a month, $79 a month. This is going to be pretty typical for a proprietary LMS. They're going to have a monthly fee. In addition, they are also going to take transaction fees from the payment gateway. So the actual like e-commerce payment gateway like PayPal or Stripe. There's lots of different payment gateways. They'll usually take a percentage of the course. And then sometimes the LMS will take an additional fee on top of that. So you can see this first, the $24 a month, they're going to take $5 per course sale. So just considering all the different costs when you're pricing your courses and choosing which platform is important. If you use WordPress, you're going to have to pay for website hosting. In the case of the proprietary LMSs, the hosting is included. And then the domain name registration, that's a nominal fee, but that's something else where the website's going to live. You have to pay the $15 a year or whatever that is. We already talked about the online marketplaces, just keeping that in mind for a quick and easy way to get started. And then just thinking about, getting all this started may sound overwhelming, but I want to encourage everyone to give it some thought. Think about, you may already have content that you can repurpose. That might be speaking presentations you've already done. It might be, a really sweet PowerPoint you made for a client that you could make more generic and teach it to a bunch of other people. Just think about what content you already have and can you turn that into an online course that you can sell. It could be something quick and easy for $10 or $15, or it could be a 4-day boot camp that you give to people and it costs $2,000. Gauge interest from people you already know, your existing clients, your existing audience, to see what they want to learn from you, what they'd be willing to pay. And then get help from MABC members. There's lots of people in here who have expertise. Heather has offered free consulting on people's curriculum. I know Stu is like becoming a Zoom expert, so he may have some offerings if you need some, course in how to use Zoom and do those video recordings. And a lot of other people have services or experience building online courses and can help you. So feel free to post in the chat if you have either a paid or a free offer. If people are looking to build an online course, if you do video editing or you know someone who does, we really want to just use the resources that we have and help each other to try to get our businesses growing and in the right direction. And then I would just challenge you, if this is something you're interested in, to try to just record one video in the next month using Zoom for practice. Just do one piece of content that you already have, or just wing it and do a practice run just to get a feel for what the work is like and how it's going to be if you decide to fully go online. So I am going to stick around for a while. If anyone wants to just hang out on the call, I'm happy to answer any questions, do any kind of consulting about your specific situation or just general. And feel free to get in touch and follow us on social media. Like I said, I'm happy to just, for free consultation to anybody who's just trying to get started. I'd love to help you make those decisions. So Stu, feel free to, if you want to, I don't know if you want to unmute people or how you want to wrap up, but I'll turn it back over to you.
Stuart, are you there? Stuart's obviously muted.
Yeah, you were so right. Thanks.
We missed you there, buddy.
Thanks, John. No, I'm back. Thanks. No, I was just going to suggest that there's been a good exchange in the chat area. I know that Val, Heather, and Dan all had some questions. They might have been addressed. If they haven't been addressed, perhaps you can come back and address those now to Candy, as we're sticking around after the top of the hour. And I know, John, you wanted to have maybe a few words to close. We started with 25. We're down to 19. People are beginning to check out. They've got other activities going on. John, maybe you want to bring it to a close, and then we'll address any questions you have at that point.
I just want to tell Candy, my mind is kind of on overload. And,
sorry, I know I talk fast.
I would love to be able to share what I know with people online, but it looks like such a Mount Everest type climb. I don't know if I could ever do it.
You can do it.
I can coach you through it, John.
It doesn't have to be Mount Everest.
We should all do this. The world has changed. And so next month, Lee's going to help us get a grip on high performance remote work strategies. And we're going to jump into LinkedIn, and the next couple months are going to be exciting, and so grateful for what Candy shared with us today.
Yeah, we're getting a number of people signing off in the chat area. Thank you, everyone, for attending today. This is being recorded. I do not know right now where it will be hosted. We might come back to Mike and the marketing committee for that. Mike, do you have any ideas on how we're going to host this video, or what your suggestions might be?
Nope. I got an idea.
Okay.
I'm going to make Stuart, I'm going to make you an admin for the LinkedIn page, and for our YouTube channel. Let's upload it to that.
Okay, you got it.
And then Candy, if you want, I'd like to upload your presentation to LinkedIn, and then we'll all be set.
Sure.
I was going to say to the whole group also, and I typed it, that thank goodness we started the video mini series a few months back, because I feel like I'm maybe 3 steps ahead of where I would have been if I hadn't tried with Stuart to do that video that we did. And so taking the risk of taking a little step, it won't seem like Mount Everest, right? If you can do just a little bit. And what I loved was having all of you there to look at it, read it, check it out, see what worked, what didn't work. It was a really safe space to take those risks and say, tell me what you think. I'm assuming that public library downtown is not open for videoing, so we might need to get even more creative at home and maybe review some of those things that we talked about in our mini series about, Judy, I know you talked about lighting and how to have a egg crate and all kinds of things for your microphone, and maybe some of those tidbits going forward to post on the LinkedIn page might really be helpful, because I feel like I feel a lot better because I was in that mini series group compared to if I hadn't been right now. So just food for thought of other content that would be valuable to the members.
Great, thanks, Heather. And you had some questions. Were those addressed on the chat, or do you still have questions lingering regarding pricing and some proprietary information?
You got to unmute. There you go.
Yeah, Judy mentioned that you want to make sure you keep the rights to all what you're creating. How do you do that? How do you make sure you've done that, I guess, is the question.
You just need to look in the platform agreement that you're signing and what does it say. So for one, I always recommend people owning their, or having a copy of every single piece of content that you're creating. So have those videos on, your MP4s on your computer or a hard drive before you upload them. And yeah, I don't know, Judy, maybe you know of if there are specific platforms that are going to say you can't sell your content anywhere else, or we own the rights to those. But it would be in the licensing agreements for sure.
I don't know which ones don't, but I know when I started researching, and I've had Teachable now for probably 3 years. So things have changed, but when I was researching Teachable, that's one of the things I want to make sure of, because you want to hang on to the rights for what you create. And I'm not certain that other platforms, like Udemy is just not a platform for what I want to do with my business. You have to understand what you want to do with your business before you select your platform.
100%.
And when you select your platform, make sure you retain your intellectual rights if that's important for your business.
I totally agree. And I think I read somewhere that Teachable was created as a response to Udemy, because I think maybe Udemy might be one of the ones that doesn't let you have the rights to your content, but I'm not positive on that.
Right. And they selectively market. They're not marketing on Udemy. They're not marketing your course all the time. They selectively market. So if you want to really have control of your business, you've got to be able to market your course when you want to market it. And you got to be able to charge what you want to charge. Udemy will have sales, and you don't necessarily have a say in whether your course is on a sale.
Right.
So if you want to have control over that, you've got to be with a platform that gives you complete control. And, because I started with Teachable before WordPress actually had LearnDash out there, and I use Thrive Themes is the theme I use for my website and for lead pages. And for, it's a whole composite system. They also have a system, they have a service for, I guess they have what I would call software, that you can create and keep it on your own computer. Now that's something to consider, is having your whole course on your own computer. But even as I've looked at that now, because I've thought of transitioning off of Teachable, as I've looked at it now though, one of the big problems is if you want to sell internationally, especially to the EU, you have to be able to adhere to the new GDPR regulations. And so all the financial piece is a piece you have to consider. How are you handling when Candy put up that slide with had accounting on it? How do you handle all the accounting? You know, you're taking payments, you're going to have to pay taxes if you sell enough, and you've got to be able to handle all of that. And I don't need that extra weight on my shoulders. I have enough just doing my regular accounting. So Teachable handles all the back office stuff, which is still a big reason for me to stay with Teachable. So check, you know, you just have to understand what you want to accomplish with your business and online courses, and then that will help you make your selection.
And Judy, thank you. You've been such a wealth of knowledge in the chat. Just an awareness point for you, your bandwidth is quite low. So maybe you need to move your router closer to your PC if you're on wireless, or ensure that you're hardwired with an Ethernet cable. Another thing is just look
at, no, it's just where we live, Stuart. We
Gotcha.
Just have low internet service.
Yeah. So you might consider using your phone as a hotspot if you've got enough data as well. Just another way to speed it up. So.
Oh, that's an idea. That's a good idea. I'll try that one.
Yeah, super. There are just a few left. We've got 13 participants or so remaining. I know that we're sticking around just to address any questions. We are over the top of the hour. Anyone else have any questions for Candy? Candy, you've just done a phenomenal job. I want to give kudos to you to run us through all this, and timeliness
Thanks.
as well. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, it was a little fast.
This is Debbie Biddle. I have a question. Just if I were going to have somebody design this for me as opposed to doing it myself, how much should I expect to spend?
Good question. The answer is all over the place, depending on where you're looking and who you're hiring. And it also depends on what exactly you're talking about outsourcing. If you're talking about just the website piece versus somebody recording or editing videos for you versus like somebody writing your curriculum or helping you design a curriculum. One recommendation I have, and I have sent a lot of clients to that, is a website. Well, there's a handful of these websites where there are freelancers, but one is called Fiverr.com, Fiverr.com, and elance.com are both they're websites where if you look like I was helping a client trying to help her find somebody to build a Learn World site for her. It's not something that we do. So I was like, how can we find someone to help you? We looked on Fiverr and there was like 100 people who would build the site for $500. So that was like super affordable. I don't know what kind of quality or kind of response time or turnaround time, but it looked like there was lots of people on those websites who will help you with any sort of platform. Just to give you an idea, like our base price to build a WordPress website with a LearnDash would be probably $5,000 or $6,000. So it's very expensive to have somebody build like a custom WordPress site for you. But yeah, again, it depends how much you're willing to do yourself and what kind of outsourcing. But I think you could probably get it done for $500 if you're outsourcing on one of those websites. Typically, it's going to be somebody in another country doing that work.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Thanks for the question, and thanks for the answer. Yeah. With that, just give a few more seconds for any questions that might be out there. Candy, again, thank you for your time. John, thanks for putting this together, making sure that MABC is still connected and offering the virtual opportunity to everyone. And we're looking forward to our upcoming May session with Lee. Awesome. Thank you so much, everybody. Thanks for hanging in at the end.
See everybody in 30 days.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody.
Again, I'll save the recording. John, I can shoot that over to you after it's done. And you can, anybody that wants, maybe, Candy, you want to save the chat for yourself, just to look at some of the comments in there. The little three dots in the bottom of the chat, and you'll be able to save it to your own PC. And I'll save it as well. And
that's good.
With that, thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.